The morning air smelled faintly of lavender and cleaning polish, the scent of quiet devotion that clung to the Beaumont estate. For most, the house was a dream. White pillars, marble floors, and a garden that seemed to hum with wealth. But for Mara Delane, it was simply her workplace, a place she cleaned, not a world she belonged to. Mara moved quietly through the vast foyer, her uniform crisp, her hands steady, though her heart often trembled at the sight of such luxury. She'd grown used to the rhythm of her days, dusting the chandeliers that sparkled like stars she could never touch, folding napkins shaped like roses, scrubbing until her reflection blurred in the floor's shine. Her world was simple, and yet her heart carried stories she never told of her late father's kindness, her mother's quiet prayers, and the endless search for dignity in a world that often measured worth by wealth. That morning, as she dusted the corners near the study, something unusual caught her eye. Beneath the polished oak desk lay a wallet, sleek black leather embossed with gold initials, LH. She picked it up gently, wiping the dust away. Inside, she found a few business cards, some cash, and a photograph of a woman smiling beside a man in his 30s. The man looked familiar. Her breath caught. It was Liam Hawthorne, the billionaire owner of the mansion. Mara's first instinct was honesty. She had been raised to return what was not hers, no matter how small. But as she turned the wallet over in her hand, doubt whispered. What if they accused her of stealing it? What if they said she found it too late? What if no one believed her? She swallowed hard and held it close to her chest, as if protecting both the wallet and her own integrity. Hours later, when the mansion's quiet returned and most staff had gone, she found herself walking toward the private office where Liam often worked late. She knocked softly. "Come in," a deep voice replied. The room smelled faintly of coffee and cedar. Liam Hawthorne sat behind a massive desk, sleeves rolled up, his expression tired yet thoughtful. He looked up as Mara entered, her hands clasped tightly around the wallet. "Sir," she began, her voice trembling. "I found this while cleaning the study." She held it out, and for a moment, silence filled the space, heavy, uncertain. Liam's eyes moved from her face to the wallet, then back. "You found this today?" "Yes, sir, under the desk." He took it slowly, opening it to check. Everything was intact, even the photograph. Something softened in his expression. "You didn't take anything?" Mara flinched at the question, but nodded firmly. "No, sir, I only wanted to return it." He studied her, the honesty in her gaze, the quiet pride in her posture. "Do you know how much cash was inside?" "I didn't count. I thought it wasn't my place." A faint smile curved his lips. Not many would say that. She bowed her head. "My father used to say, honesty is the one thing poor people can still afford." The words hung in the air, and something in Liam's chest shifted. He thought of his own father, a man who had taught him business, not kindness. He reached into the drawer, pulled out a checkbook, and began writing. "You've done a good thing, Mara. Let me reward you." But she stepped back, shaking her head quickly. "Please, sir, I didn't return it for money." Liam paused, the pen hovering midair. "Then why?" She hesitated, then answered softly, "Because losing something doesn't always mean it's gone forever. Sometimes someone just needs to care enough to return it." Her words, so simple, yet so profound, struck him deeper than he expected. For a moment, the billionaire saw beyond the uniform, beyond class or wealth. He saw a woman whose heart was still anchored to goodness in a world that had long abandoned it. He closed the checkbook. "You've given me something priceless," he murmured. She frowned gently. "Sir, my faith in people." For the first time in years, he smiled without calculation, and as Mara left the office, her heart felt unexpectedly lighter, not because of gratitude or praise, but because she had done what was right, even when no one was watching. Outside, the evening breeze brushed against her face. Somewhere beyond the walls of that grand house, her late father would have been proud. And somewhere deep inside Liam Hawthorne, something long dormant began to awaken, something he didn't yet understand but couldn't ignore. The next morning, sunlight streamed gently through the tall windows of the Hawthorne estate. The house was quiet, except for the faint sound of water running from the garden fountain, a soft rhythm that matched Mara's steady steps as she carried fresh linens toward the hall. She didn't expect to see him again so soon. Men like Liam Hawthorne didn't linger around the help. But as she turned the corner, she nearly collided with him. "Oh, Mr. Hawthorne, I'm sorry, I didn't." He raised a hand, stopping her apology before it could form. "No need, Mara, I was actually looking for you." Her heart fluttered nervously. "For me, sir?" He nodded, his tone gentle but certain. "About yesterday." Mara swallowed, unsure whether she had done something wrong. But his eyes carried no reprimand, only quiet thought. He gestured toward the veranda. "Would you join me for a moment?" Outside, the morning was bright, the air crisp with promise. Liam handed her a small cup of tea. It was the first time anyone had ever served her in this house, and she hesitated to take it. He noticed her hesitation. "You returned my wallet when you could have kept it. You reminded me that trust isn't a business transaction." His gaze softened. "My late wife used to say that real wealth is measured in small acts of honesty." Mara's fingers tightened around the cup. "She sounds like a good person." "She was," he said quietly, a faint smile ghosting across his lips. "You remind me of her the way you speak, the way you believe in simple goodness." For a moment, silence wrapped around them, delicate and unspoken. The kind of silence that carries meaning too tender for words. Liam looked out toward the garden. "You know, I lost that wallet on the anniversary of her death. That photograph inside, it's the last one we took together." Her breath caught. "I didn't know." He shook his head gently. "You couldn't have, but when you returned it, it felt as if she'd come back to me just for a moment." Her eyes glistened. "Then I'm glad I found it, sir." He turned to her, his voice low but sure. "Please stop calling me sir." She blinked, surprised. "What should I call you then?" He smiled softly. "Liam." Her name lingered on his tongue when he said it next. "Mara, there are things in this world that money can't buy: sincerity, peace, the quiet grace you carry. Yesterday, I thought you gave back my wallet, but you gave me something I hadn't felt in years." Her lips parted, but no words came. He continued, his voice almost a whisper. "Hope." The word lingered in the air, tender and fragile, yet full of life. Mara looked at him, really looked, and saw not a billionaire, not a man of power, but a soul that had finally remembered how to feel. And though their worlds were miles apart, something in that quiet morning light told her that kindness had, once again, bridged the impossible.